What's up, guys? Jump Ball here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the upcoming draft, free agency, and all the things I think are going to happen, as well as some rumors that just came out today that I want to touch on. So, to start, I'm going to start talking about the draft and what I think are 3 guarantees and maybe some hot takes that I think are going to happen on the draft night. First guarantee, I think, is just 100% is Zion Williamson will be going to the New Orleans Pelicans, and Ja Morant will be going to the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies have come out, said they wanted to trade Mike Conley. I believe the Bulls and the Suns are currently the front runners for that, but we'll see what happens there. Zion is just the best prospect in this draft. That is unquestionable. He will be going to the New Orleans Pelicans, and they're trying to get a deal for Anthony Davis done, which I will touch on later. I think they might be around the playoffs, not in it, but around there with all these pieces coming in. I think the Hawks are 100% going to try to trade up. Whether they actually end up doing it or not, that is the question. But they've acquired the 8th pick, the 10th pick from Dallas, and the 17th pick from Brooklyn in that trade with Allen Crabbe and all them. So they definitely want to trade up. I believe they said they wanted to draft Jarrett Culver. They might have to trade up to 4 or 5 for that, but we'll see what goes on. And the third, this is less of a guarantee and more of a we have history and therefore I think it'll happen, but the Suns will fuck it up somehow. The Suns always end up messing it up. The last time they hit on a pick was, I believe it was 2015 when they selected Devin Booker. Since then, it's been Dragan Bender, Josh Jackson. They picked DeAndre Ayton when Luka Doncic was sitting right there. And Trae Young, as a matter of fact, and they really need a point guard. So, the Suns, I believe, will mess it up some way or another. As for hot takes, like I said, Hawks getting Jarrett Culver, it's not more of a hot take more than it is something that needs a lot to happen, because they would need to trade up to 5 probably, take the Cavs pick, and the Cavs probably want Jarrett Culver as well. So they'll have to trade up to 5 and then hope that 4, which right now is in the Anthony Davis talks, doesn't get flipped for a team that wants Jarrett Culver. But I know that they really want to trade up for Jarrett Culver in specific, and my hot take is that they'll get him. So another thing is that every year there's a steal, whether last year it was Mitchell Robinson at 36, whether it be the year before Donovan Mitchell at 13. There's always a steal, and I think the steal of this draft is going to be Kevin Porter Jr. He looked really good at USC, I believe. I watched his highlight tapes. I've listened to a lot of draft reviews of him. I've read his draft report. He just looks like a really good prospect that I don't really know why he's getting talked about so low, but he's around the 9 to 13 range right now in all the mock drafts and reports I've seen. I think he'll be the steal of the draft. I think he'll be a great player. Not a great player, but maybe borderline all-star in this league, and I think he will 100% be the steal of this draft. As for free agency, there's been a lot of stuff I've been hearing today in particular. Kemba Walker is willing to take less than the Supermax, and I think that officially crosses him off of free agency. I think Kemba Walker is staying with the Charlotte Hornets, which personally I wouldn't do, but you know what? Kemba loves being in Charlotte, and you know, good for him. He's still going to get his money. He might not be taking the $221 million Supermax, but he will be still getting paid $25 million plus a year. He will still be the highest paid player on that team, even with all those bad contracts like Nick Batum and Bismack Biyombo. So, good for Kemba. I think Kevin Durant still ends up coming to the New York Knicks, whether he did rupture his Achilles. That was confirmed yesterday. Regardless, I still think he does come to the Knicks despite that injury. As for Kawhi Leonard, it's really up in the air, and if it was anybody other than Kawhi Leonard, I think I would say they're staying in Toronto. But the fact that it's Kawhi Leonard and you never really know what he's going to do, I think he's going to the Clippers. Hot take, maybe. Let me know. For Tobias Harris, there has been mutual interest between him and the Brooklyn Nets, and I think he ends up going there because I think they're the team crazy enough to offer him a max contract. But also, I want to touch on Kyrie Irving, who has dropped his agent and is rumored to sign with, I think it's the ROC network, which is the owner of that is the brother of somebody high up in the Nets organization, I believe. And so all the signs indicate he's going to the Nets, but I want to see what happens with him because I still think he goes to the Knicks. I kind of don't like saying that because it feels like I'm just having a hometown bias, but all the rumors have said he's going to the Knicks. If KD comes and maybe we have a shot in 2020 for Anthony Davis, then who knows? You know, that would be a great big three, and I would love to see it. I think D'Angelo Russell does stay with the Nets, though, after they, in my opinion, strike out with Kyrie Irving. D'Angelo Russell stays with the Nets. He's a restricted free agent, so somebody's going to offer him a max. He's a very young all-star already, and he'll improve, and he'll be worth that max contract. So, Anthony Davis, I think it's a foregone conclusion he goes to the Lakers. You look at all the packages that are being offered and touted around right now. Celtics and Lakers are the only two in the conversation. The Knicks have kind of backed away. A lot of the people in the Knicks organization are afraid of a repeat Carmelo Anthony, and I can't blame them in the slightest. Anthony Davis, I believe, does go to the Lakers. I want to talk about some of the potential mock trades I've heard today in particular, and what I think about them and who wins and who loses. But I do think he ends up on the Los Angeles Lakers. As for Jimmy Butler, the Sixers have said it's a priority to keep him in Philadelphia, and for that reason, I think they offer him the max contract, and I think it's 2 years, or maybe next year. He's a restricted free agent. Ben Simmons, they re-sign him to a max, and they go well into the luxury tax off that. DeMarcus Cousins, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think he goes to the Dallas Mavericks to team up with Luka Doncic and Kristaps. That would just be a magnificent big three if DeMarcus Cousins can come back to his best. It's a scary front court. Him and Porzingis block shots all day long. Great offense, and both of them can shoot a little, so that's a little scary. There's not really anybody you can sag off on in the perimeter then. Wow, yeah. So I think DeMarcus Cousins does end up on the Mavericks. Klay Thompson, I think there's no way he doesn't end up staying with the Warriors. They're going to offer him a max deal. He's probably prioritizing it over anybody else. As much as I'd love to see him on the Lakers, you know, a top 3, 4, or 5, whatever you think, shooter of all time in Klay Thompson, teaming up with LeBron, who does get shooters open, it would just be really interesting. And Vucevic, I think he stays with the Magic. I don't have any reason to think this other than I don't see where he would go other than maybe the Mavericks that would offer him the money that the Magic will. So purely money reasons, I think Vucevic does stay with the Magic. And the last topic I want to touch on today is that Anthony Davis trade. So far, I've heard 2 mocks, and this is all coming off the top of my head, so let's see if I can get this right. The first one is a 3-team trade involving the Chicago Bulls. That one's been coming out a lot today. The Pelicans would get, let's see, Lonzo would go to the Bulls along with the 4th and Solomon Hill. So that's what the Bulls would get. The Lakers would get Anthony Davis. And the Pelicans would get Brandon Ingram, Zach LaVine, Josh Hart, the future Lakers first. Yeah, that would be that package. So that would be the Bulls 3-way trade. I think the Bulls have to say no to that because you look at it, in essence, they're giving up LaVine and getting back the 4th Lonzo and a bad contract in Solomon Hill. And I think they have to say no to that trade. Their rebuild is actually going along very well. They have 3 really good young players and a really good shooter in Otto Porter. The 3 really young players being LaVine, Markkanen, and Wendell Carter. I don't think they'd give up their... Well, that's not really giving up their rebuild, but they're getting Lonzo and probably Jarrett Culver with that 4th pick for Zach LaVine, who is already averaging 26, I believe, and is a borderline-ish all-star in the East. So I don't think there's any reason to give him up. And the other one I've heard, this one has been a lot less confirmed, more just kind of a mock, but I heard that the Thunder might be the 3rd team in the trade. They would give up Steven Adams for the 4th and Josh Hart. Steven Adams will go to the Pelicans. Lonzo and Brandon Ingram would end up in the Pels as well as the 2021 pick, and the Lakers would get Anthony Davis. I think that's a more realistic trade for the Thunder and the Lakers to accept. I'm not sure what the Pelicans think. They said they wanted an all-star. Steven Adams is he was unplayable in the playoffs against the Trailblazers. They were kind of killing him off that pick and roll. He hasn't looked great toward the end of the season, but he is still a borderline all-star. He was getting a lot of votes. He was a fan favorite at the all-star break, so maybe they accept that deal. But that, like I said, that was more just a mock trade rather than an actual confirmed rumor. And so really we have no idea what's going to go on with the Anthony Davis trade. All we know realistically is that the Pelicans want an all-star and a good young player, as well as that 2021 pick. They don't want that 4th overall pick. They want to trade that for an all-star-ish caliber player, and the Lakers just wanted Anthony Davis. That's all we know so far. We don't know for sure who the third team in that trade will be. We don't know if the Bulls even say no to that LaVine offer, which I think they very well should do. But we're all going to see what goes on. The NBA draft is in 7 days at the time I'm recording this, and I'm very interested to see what happens and if there's any surprises that I didn't cover today. If you have any ideas what's going to go on over the draft or over free agency and you want to contradict me or maybe put your bold predictions in the comments, please do so below. Like the video and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, weekly, daily, whatever I end up doing. So once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.